This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you by Faulkner University. Choosing where to go to college is a big decision, and Faulkner University is the right choice for many reasons. First and foremost, they're committed to biblical teaching. Each of their 85 outstanding academic programs infuse Christian principles into the curriculum and prepare students for professional success in their career and meaningful service in their community. Their main campus in Montgomery, Alabama offers an abundance of opportunities for internships, networking, and entertainment. Over 96% of their students receive financial aid, making Faulkner education a great value. Faulkner is a Christian university dedicated to helping you grow strong in your faith, and their family-like atmosphere will make you feel right at home. Check out faulkner.edu today.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. We are coming to you from the big city of Dallas, Texas. We are at CYC Dallas, and as you can see, if you are watching this, if you're listening to us, we have one of our favorite people on the planet with us, and that is the Lonnie Jones. So, Lonnie, we're glad to have you. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing awesome. It's great to be out here in Texas with you guys.
It is indeed. Travis, how have you been this week?
Dude, I am amazing. 12 hours out here with the SWAT guys.
And your mom.
And my mom.
Kept us in line.
She's not dampened the party one bit,
That's right. Which
we knew that wouldn't be the case. Me behave, that's just not going to happen, especially. But I'm really excited to be out here in Dallas. We didn't get to come last year, obviously, due to circumstances. But, man, it's great to be out here, and we're so thankful for Lonnie joining us yet again
I love
to answer
this
your questions.
It's one of my favorite podcasts. I will not say which is my favorite, but anyway.
We'll give you an opportunity to.
Well, it might be the one that's our favorite that we enjoy
exactly.
listening to every Tuesday morning as well. But this is the famous Ask Lonnie Jones Anything episodes, and I think this is, we've had several of them, and so we're glad to have Lonnie back with us. So I'm going to let Travis get us started with some of the questions that have been sent in that people, inquiring minds want to know what's rattling around in that brain there.
It's a dark and scary place.
So Lonnie, I don't know that we've mentioned, he is the host of the Keeping Up with Jones podcast. We encourage you, obviously, to check that out. We put that out a lot. Great storyteller. Man, what all is there? Licensed professional counselor, works with the Huntsville SWAT team, right?
Yes,
Still
yeah.
in the capacity. He's out there jiu-jitsu. And
I'm doing a little jiu-jitsu these days.
As your shirt entails.
Yeah.
He's an instructor.
And so, Lonnie's got a background in a lot of different things. And ultimately, he's our friend. Ultimately, he's our brother in Christ.
Brother in Christ, that's right.
And which makes him a dear friend. And so we like to bring your questions to Lonnie. And so, I'll jump in with the first one. We'll get going. And I'll just take them in order as they appear on my screen. First and foremost, does ketchup go on hot dogs?
Absolutely.
You big hot dog connoisseur?
Question.
I only eat hot dogs at ballparks. I won't eat a hot dog any other time, but if I'm at a football game and it's cold, I'm going to eat a hot dog.
So just to further answer the question, what else goes on a hot dog? Just ketchup?
Yeah, just ketchup and cheese.
Okay.
Or chili.
Okay.
And so ketchup, cheese, and chili, pretty much got it. Maybe some Fritos.
All right.
And that question comes from Instagram, and you can, get us your questions for Lonnie. Ask us about the other podcast that Ben and Travis on Instagram. Comes from B. Ramper Sandon.
Okay.
33 on Instagram.
Well,
but
yes,
your answer,
right.
Lonnie's wisdom, yes. In fact, ketchup does go on a hot dog.
Right.
Ben.
All right. So the second question is from Joshua Harper, 405. And he asked, how tall are you or short? So
I am 5'4" tall and 195 pounds of pure animal. And if I need to be taller, I'll stack bodies. How about that? Who's this kid?
I'll take it. Joshua Harper.
That's
Joshua Harper.
He's coming for you, Joshua.
Come see me, brother. I look very tall when you lay it on your back. I'm just telling you right now.
That's amazing. We'll switch over.
I'm sorry, Joshua.
No,
I didn't mean to get all. You kicked the bear.
Don't ask questions you don't want to answer to.
If I could trade, I would not be tall. my compact frame allows me to do some really cool stuff hunting, allows me to do some good. I mean, I'm built for jiu-jitsu. I enjoy being my size. I goof around about it a lot, but I have enjoyed a life as a compact snack size person.
I mean, I've seen some of the damage you can do. I've seen you put people to sleep, and to put people to sleep, you don't have to be tall. That is not a requirement. You put people to sleep outside of a doctor's office. Is, I guess, what I'm saying.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
and outside my preaching.
yeah, that helps too. All right. So we also put out a questionnaire to our email list. So there's several ways that you can get those questions into us in the future. But we had one that a little more on the serious side. Do you think there is a best way to treat mental health problems? If so, what would you say is the best way?
Short answer is cognitive behavioral therapy, or what I consider to be solution-oriented brief therapy. And I think that's the quickest, most efficient way. But I think a lot of times you've got to determine whether you actually have a mental illness or a maladaptive pattern of behavior. And telling the difference between those two is pretty interesting. I use the criterion for emotional intelligence. Do I have insight into myself such that I understand my emotions? And can I use my emotions as information rather than instruction? Now, once I understand my emotions, I respond to my emotions with self-regulation. That is delayed gratification, impulse control, motivation, being able to work toward a long-term goal. And then I can recognize emotions in other people and respond to them. If you cannot do those things, if you don't possess the capacity, then you are mentally ill. If you can do that, but you have a deficit, you haven't learned it, or you've chosen not to do it, or you haven't matured to the point, then I call that maladaptive behavior. And so, true mental illness is no different than cancer. You didn't cause it, you can't cure it, you got to learn how to cope with it. And so sometimes cognitive behavioral therapy is not the best when it's a true mental illness, but I see more interpretation errors, maladaptive behavior at my office than I do a truly mentally ill person, if that makes sense. Do I need to clarify any of that? Okay.
Yeah. So I think just to the one, regular Joe here about mental health, there's a lot of things that fall under that umbrella that maybe you wouldn't go, that's mental illness.
So you have mood disorders. Mm-hmm. People with mood disorders have difficulty having relationships with their emotions. Personality disorders are people who have difficulty having relationships with the other persons. Psychotic disorders, people have difficulty having a relationship with reality. And so everything that you see is going to fall into that. And we're not going to talk about neurodevelopmental, and we're not going to talk about substance abuse. But everything that's probably diagnosable falls under that in some way, shape, or form. Some stuff in the sexual realm are also in the diagnostic manual. But typically, you'll see, hey, am I having trouble with my emotions? Am I having trouble with other people? Or am I having trouble with reality? And that's kind of what I teach on that when I teach de-escalation for the police. I'm part of a program called Crisis Intervention Training, and I teach the de-escalation, the mental health part for the cops. There's a 6-part series on my YouTube channel, the Christian and Mental Wellness, and it talks about a lot of this stuff in detail.
Well, yeah, I'll be sure I'll put that in the description as well.
All right.
That'll be good. People can go check
Yeah, and
it
I
out.
think one of the things I might follow up with that on too is just because you said that a lot of people as they look at this, it's not any different than cancer. So with that being said, would you say that with some mental illnesses there might be more needed than just counseling?
Oh, absolutely. Medication, psychopharmacological stuff. If you have good insight, a good support system, and you maintain adherence to your treatment regimen, a person can reach a modest level of functioning. But you take one of those 3 things away, insight, support system, or they're not following their treatment plan, and then they're going to decompensate and go back into trouble.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you for those answers.
Family devotional time, fulfilling, organized, fun. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates. Moses' words in Deuteronomy 6:4-8 to the children of Israel in the speech that closed out not only his ministry, but also his life, can be overwhelming at times and make us as parents feel like we could be doing more to disciple our children. In the fast-paced life that we live, we're usually just happy if everyone makes it out the door with their shoes on the correct feet. Planning and executing a family devotional time can seem out of reach. We're here to help. The Helping Healing Humor podcast has a tool to help you plan, organize, and execute a fulfilling and fun family devotional time for every member of your family, from toddler to teen. As a member of the Ben and Travis Patreon community, you will have access to tons of content at a small price that will help you grow your spiritual life, disciple your family, or even lead a small group Bible study. Patreon membership fees will help our podcast continue to be better and support the cost of creating and publishing the content that our Helping Healing Humor community has enjoyed. Go to www.patreon.com/Ben and Travis to sign up. Hit the link in the show notes for this month's special offer.
How about this one? What is, this is where we get into the fun stuff. What's your favorite or least favorite thing about Travis Creasy? I didn't make this
I'm glad
question.
they didn't ask you that question, man. I'm glad you're not answering that.
Okay, so my favorite thing about Travis Creasy is his genuine humility. Behold an Israelite in whom there is no guile. When you see Travis, what you see is what you get, and that is the most favorite thing I have about him, is that he's just who he is, and he's comfortable who he is, he's comfortable who he's not, he's comfortable with who you are, and he's comfortable who you're not, and you just don't have to play any games to be around Travis Creasy.
And what's your least favorite thing about? See, I think this came from one of his students.
Yeah,
so they're
looking for dirt.
Burn him
So,
right here.
so my least favorite thing is that he lives so far away. I don't get to hang out with him enough.
Oh, nice.
Straight up, I got no kicks against Travis Creasy.
Well, I'll tell you, fall rolls around and we start preparing for events like this, and I'm money. I'm ready. It's awesome. Sign up. I'm ready to go. I am going to ask on the next episode, what's your favorite thing about Ben and least favorite thing about Ben, to keep people on a cliffhanger here.
Oh, okay.
So they got to come listen to part 2 to see how we feel about Ben Hayes. But I do have one last question, and I can't remember if we've asked this on a previous show or not, but this is just my personal question to you, and this is what we'll wrap up on. But if you got to preach, and this is your, I'm in my back pocket, this is what I'm going to bust out, your go-to, like, scripture. If you're going to do a chapter in the Bible, I mean, just out of nowhere, hey man, I need you to preach tonight. Boom. What's maybe a couple of texts. If you can't pick one.
Philippians 2.
Yeah.
If I could talk to one group one time on one topic, I'd talk about selfishness. Don't do anything out of selfish ambition. Don't do anything out of vain conceit. In lowliness of mind, treat other people better than yourselves. And look at the example of Christ, who was God, became a man, and that man was a servant. One time, one place. I would do that. Or Romans 8. Romans 8 starts with no condemnation, ends with no separation.
Yeah.
Travis is
and that, and so, if I had to preach one time, I'm going to talk about selfishness. It's the common denominator behind all sin. It's the opposite of love. It's the antithesis of Christianity. And it marks Christian maturity: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and control of the self. It's the function of all relationships. Love your neighbor as yourself. If I don't have a proper balance of me, I don't know how to treat you. If I value myself too high, I'm a narcissist and treat you like a dog. If I value myself too low, I'm a dependent personality and I treat you like a god. And you gotta have a good relationship with self to be able to have a good relationship with others. That's inherent to the Christian ethic. So my go-to thing would probably be something about selfishness, Philippians 2, comes to mind.
And any of my students who are listening, or any of the people ever hear me preach, they're going to know I agree with you on Romans 8.
Romans 8.
If I preach a sermon and there's no
go-to.
reference to Romans 8, I have pulled off. Even if I go in and go, okay, I'm not going to reference Romans 8, it happens. It's going to happen.
All right.
So
That's
I'm
cool.
a total agreement there with you. Lonnie, once again, we thank you for being with us. Volume 7. We know that you're in all kinds of stuff, but tell us about something where people can find you, where they can check you out, or what something new you're doing that you're promoting, sponsoring, or something you'd like for the people
So I've got
to
a
check out.
podcast, Lonnie Jones, Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones Podcast Adventure. I have a Teespring account, www.teespring.stores/Lonnie-Jones-art. And you can see stuff I've drawn for SWAT. You can see stuff I've drawn and painted for Gunner, stickers, shirts, swag. It's just
We didn't even mention artist.
yeah.
In
So-
all
so-
the
so my-
biography there.
my private collection of just stuff I've drawn that I share people, and then I have books on Amazon.
And Arthur.
And so
Author.
yeah.
You're an author.
So cognitive
Author.
spiritual development is a book about spiritual self-esteem. Grappling with life, controlling your inside space is a book I wrote for the jiu-jitsu community that I'm doing a corporate presentations on. They asked me to come speak,
Sweet.
and so I do a self-defense workshop that is kinetic, talks about actually protecting yourself physically, but it's also about protecting yourself psychologically and emotionally. And then I've got this goofy little thing that I illustrated called the selfish reel. And a reel is a little rivulet of water. And it's this idea that this guy has to make a decision about sharing, and you travel into his mind, and his mind looks like a swamp that's been blocked.
Travis knows about that.
Yeah, it's been blocked by like a swamp. And so this entity called the self is trying to keep this thing that wants to share inside and not get out. And it's called The Selfish Reel, a story about a decision. And it's like a graphic novel. I wrote it on an iPad and
Cool story.
drew in the margins. And
Well, you mentioned your inside space, grappling with life, and I'm actually having my junior Christian leadership class read that book.
Really?
It's it's really good, really
that's
well
super
done.
cool.
Put in like I said, regular Joe language, and I think it's something, man, that every human being really, but especially teenager, needs to read, especially in today's time about dealing with anxiety and dealing with all those things. Man, that's great.
Cool. Well, I appreciate the chance to get to talk about some of this stuff.
So if you are listening to this podcast on Tuesday morning, go straight over to the Keeping Up with Jones, Lonnie Jones Podcast Adventure, and listen to it right after this, because
Yes.
it's always out on Tuesday
I
morning.
think we're the Saturday morning cartoons, but we're actually Tuesday morning podcasts. That's kind
Yes,
of how I think
that's
of
who
us.
we are.
You just let them roll, get you dry cereal like I used to do on Saturday morning and watch every cartoon.
And
that
you have
came
to have
on.
milk with your cereal
Yeah,
so you
well,
can drink
okay,
it out of
yeah.
the bowl.
And so, head on over there, check that out, and hopefully, if Lonnie stick with us, we'll go ahead and hit a volume 8.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Knock it out.
Hey, appreciate it. Love you guys.
Ready to thrive in your ministry work? Pursuing a degree in biblical studies at the undergraduate or graduate level is now more convenient than ever at Heritage Christian University. To apply or see all the classes available, visit www.hcu.edu. Nearly all of the classes were created to be taken remotely, so no matter your schedule or location, you can be a part of learning more about the Bible in the new year. Apply today.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.